Hello, friends. Welcome back. I'm Conley Woods. This is TCGplayer.com, and we are bringing you, well, I guess all I have to do is mouse over this card. I don't have to do much more. This was voted in as the number two choice behind Ever After as cards to be brewed around. So I have affectionately named the deck the number 1-3. You'll get there. You'll figure it out. All right. So the idea behind this deck, there's an important thing when you're playing Triskaidekaphobia in Standard, which is you cannot reliably kill people with fetch land or with pain lands out because they can take damage to not be at 13 when you want to kill them. Obviously, there are a couple of tricky workarounds for this, but they're all kind of annoying. Like I don't want to play bounce spells or land destruction like I know that's a weird thing for me to say, I understand, but I don't want to play World Breaker. I don't want to play Crumble to Dust or anything like that. So instead of doing that, the alternative is so you can win games against non-pain land mana bases just fine with Triskaidekaphobia. You put them to 13, they die. Against decks that have pain lands out, you have to punish them for their use of the pain land. So basically the first thing that happens is you go to put them to 13 with Triskaidekaphobia, and they pain land themselves down to 12. So now they've taken a free damage, minor thing, but a thing. At that point, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to use Triskaidekaphobia as a burn spell and start draining them for one a turn, not ever gaining life, because our rest of our deck can do the life gain for us. Obviously, we'll gain life if we're going to die or something, but the goal basically with this is, at this point, is just drain them for one a turn, making it stack pretty reasonably well as drain 2 a turn, drain 3 a turn, etc. And while that's happening, we're going to aim all of our other cards that can drain him, or our opponent, not him, I guess. We're going to aim all that stuff at them as well. So we have Demonic Pact, which can hit a player for 4. We have Sorin, which can hit a player with its X spell, with its not with its top ability, not with its X spell part. The X spell only hits creatures and planeswalkers. And we also have Damnable Pact, which can kill an opponent. So while we don't have like a ton of, we also have Shambling Vents. I guess I can get in some damage. And then Obnixilis can ultimate to do something. I guess Sorin can ultimate too. What's his ultimate do? I don't even know. Put a number of 1/1 black knights where black is the highest life total. Okay. So yeah. So we have some ways to win the game beyond just putting them to 13. But we heavily focus on Triskaidekaphobia. We could have gone some other route and been like, okay, if they have pain lands, we just win with insert large creature, whatever. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep the spirit of Triskaidekaphobia alive. I wanted to make the deck about this card. Not as extreme as making it all 13s and all that weird stuff or anything like that. Obviously, the title aside, I wanted the deck to be playable and to be a possibly reasonable constructed deck. So meanwhile, what we need to do is make sure we're never at 13 to risk dying from this. So to do that, we have a bunch of little life gain. We have a bunch of life-altering things we're playing with. So we have 2 Chaplain's Blessing. This card is probably the weakest card in the deck, I would imagine. I cut it down to a 2 of before shipping, but I wanted to have a couple of ways to just recoup a lot of life for a small amount of mana, so that way I can make a play like Triskaidekaphobia while at 13 or whatever and gain some life, or I could play an Archive and gain 10 life for 1 mana, or I could cast Chaplain's Blessing and then have the life build to Anguish I'm making, or whatever it may be. I was just looking to have a couple of Chaplain's Blessings floating around, because you basically will always keep them in your hand until the second you need to play them. And then you just gain a little burst of life. That's the idea behind it. It's a very weak concept. I understand that. Gaining 5 life is not the greatest, but it's about as efficient as you can get for 1 mana. So we're going to give it a shot. The rest of the life gain in the deck is a lot better than that because it comes with upside. So we have 4 Healing Hands, which is all right, not the greatest looking card in the world. I understand that, and it's the second next weakest card, but it does target a player, so we can get our opponent who is down too low to die, at 7 life or whatever. We're we gave up. We're oh, okay, we can't do that. Oh, we're oh, you're back up to 11 now. Triskaidekaphobia put you to 12. Good luck or whatever. We can do that to them. and pull somebody out who thought they were safe. So that's kind of nice. But mainly what this is in here for is it's a cycling card that gains us some life, keeps us afloat, and it works really, really well with Archive, where it draws you 2 cards and gains you 8 life for 4 mana. But yeah, this is mostly in here as just a way to manipulate both players' life totals. It's the only card in Standard that can target your opponent to give them life. And yeah, we're gonna give it a shot. It's obviously a stretch to see this if this is constructed playable. But you know, if we're not gonna brew now, when are we gonna brew, right? So to lower our life total, for Read the Bones, the Scry should be pretty relevant since we have a lot of one-of action. We have like 1 Obnixilis, 1 Archive, 2 Swords, 2 Damnable Packs, 1 Angelic Purge, 3 Demonic Packs. So hopefully the Scry will be pretty relevant. Obviously we're playing 2 colors, so we don't want to run the draw 3. This causes us to lose a couple life, which can matter, you know, positively or negatively with our deck, so we have to pay attention to that. For Anguished Unmaking, instant speed, exiling any permanent is huge. Obviously, one of the big benefits of this card is that we have 4 Demonic Packs. We also have Angelic Purge. So Angelic Purge can pull double duty. You can actually sack 1 Demonic Pack to kill one of your other Demonic Packs. And you often do have 2 Demonic Packs out at once because just they cascade into each other because you play one when you're comfortable with not losing the game, and then it draws you a couple cards or whatever, and you find another one. So you can do that with Angelic Purge, but you can also just Anguish on making it. Outside of that, however, you will die to your Demonic Packs. So you only have those 5 cards, so be careful with them. They are often you're going to want to play them you know, when you have an Archive out or you're trying to kill your opponent or to stay alive or whatever. You can do things like Read the Bones to find an answer or Damnable Pact to find an answer, so you're not just dead. But you do need to be careful with these. You can't run them out on turn 4 and expect them to necessarily be dead, to be gone when you need them to be. For Triskaidekaphobia, goes without saying, I think. For Languish, running 4 of this lets us run less removal overall. Obviously, we have the 4 Anguished Unmakings. For a while, I had stuff like Declaration in Stone in the deck. I had Grasp of Darkness in the deck. But I was like, you know what? I would rather just minimize the amount of removal I have because I have a bunch of life gain to deal with aggro already. And I would instead just want to run some Wraths. So 4 Languish in here to just pull heavy duty and kill a bunch of stuff. We have some spot removal in this kind of stuff, so hopefully the Languish just does the majority of it, does the brunt of the work. 1 Obnixilis in here. He causes us to lose life. He kills creatures, draws cards, all the good stuff. I did have a second Archive for a while in the main deck. I decided the Archive is probably best against Control, where our Read the Bones and our Healing Hands and our Swords and our Damnable Packs and our Obnixilis and all that stuff wants to get a lot better. Also, Demonic Pact is pretty insane with Archive. Draw 4 cards is huge. Deal 4, gain 8 is also pretty huge. So I'm thinking about a second Archive in the sideboard against Control. We'll see if that's valuable or not. Right now, the Obnixilis got the addition over the second Archive in the main deck because Archive is legendary. So keep that in mind. 2 Sorens kind of does it all for you. Kills your opponent, gains you life, kills creatures, and then Damnable Pact. Worse than Read the Bones, I would say, but it is nice that you can draw a bunch of cards off this, especially with Archive out, and you can also just target your opponent to kill them. It's an X spell that just drains your opponent for X, so you can always do that. And that is the deck. It's pretty straightforward. We're just going to be messing around with people's life totals. The mana base does not have a lot of fanciness to it. We have Caves, a couple Blighted Fens to just give us a little bit more removal, Evolving Wilds, 1 Forsaken Statue. I guess Forsaken Statue is just better. Wait, why did I add for Evolving Wilds as a deck? I think there was a reason. Did shuffling matter? I think shuffling might have mattered. But I'm looking and I don't see... Oh, is it Pick the Brain? Yeah, it is Pick the Brain. I have 2 Pick the Brains in the sideboard. So Sorcery, Instant, Enchantment, Land. I had the 1 Angelic Purge to get a land, but I think that the Evolving Wilds are pretty necessary. And then I have some couple creatures. So yeah, I think Pick the Brain is reason enough to run Evolving Wilds over Forsaken Sanctuary. But I do have 1 copy of Forsaken Sanctuary as well. 1 Seagate Wreckage, which can only be activated via Caves and the Blighted Fen, but I think that's plenty. 4 Shambling Vent, more life gain, and your only creature, so do not expose this to instant speed removal if you can avoid it, because they will likely have it if they have it in their deck. But if they're playing Declaration in Stones and Ruinous Path, then you're pretty safe, and you can just get in for 2 or block things, so that's always nice. that is it for the mana base. Sideboard is obviously again thrown together. We have 2 Flaying Tendrils to back up the Languish, just to give us a little bit cheaper removal, and then 1 Planar Outburst to give us a little more expensive removal against the bigger decks. Triple Kalitas, which we see in all my sideboards, just because this just beats a lot of decks by itself, and I love it. 2 Duress, 2 Pick the Brain, to back up the 4 Transgress the Mind in the main deck, which I don't think I talked about, but I wanted a little bit of interaction with, more opponents. I think our deck's going to beat aggro pretty well, and I think we have a lot of powerful cards against control like Triskaidekaphobia, so I'm not actually sure what our biggest weakness is, but Transgress the Mind just felt like a really good kind of catch-all, so I'm trying that out. 2 Duress, 2 Pick the Brains to back that up. Couple Hallowed Moonlights in here to mess with some of the Collected Company decks. 1 more Archive, I said, against control. 1 Ruinous Path, just to back up the Anguished Unmakings against heavy Planeswalker decks. And that is that. Pretty straightforward. For the sideboard, I'm pretty excited to try this one out. It should be a fun deck. I don't know if it's going to be good, but that doesn't really matter. Let's just go have a good time, and we'll be right back. TCGplayer.com. I'm Conley Woods. Be right back.